We are 1K. If you're deeply immersed in the world of anime, chances are you've come across the legendary Big Three, and despite the ongoing debates surrounding this title, whether they're the three best anime ever or simply the most popular, there should be no argument about their inclusion in this elite group. These are the manga that dominated sales throughout the 2000s, defining the Big Three unequivocally as Naruto, which is my personal favorite, One Piece aka the world's best-selling manga, and Bleach, well, it's Bleach. Today, let's focus on the strengths of One Piece, the most controversial of the trio, and in case you haven't watched it yet, maybe convince you to give it a try. So sit up straight, have a sip of water, like and subscribe, and finally, enjoy. Firstly, let me shame you a bit for not having watched One Piece in 2024. Dive into this anime with over 1,000 episodes one by one, and I guarantee you will not regret it. Now on to more serious arguments, starting with the basics, the story, the second strong point of this masterpiece. One Piece's story revolves around Luffy, a guy who ate the devil fruit Gota Goma no Mi and gained the ability to stretch like rubber. Just a detail is that everybody that eats any devil fruit will be considered an enemy of the ocean and will lose their ability to swim. So it's really funny to see them beating giants and considerable gods in the verse, but getting weak when in contact with water. Continuing, his dream is to find the treasure left by the king of pirates known as Gold D. Rogers, which gives the anime its name, and also becoming the king of pirates. This, to fulfill a promise to a guy named Shanks that saved him from a sea monster when he was a kid, and he gave him a straw hat which he has to give him back once he becomes the king of pirates. As he travels from island to island, getting closer to realizing his dream, Luffy faces increasingly powerful enemies. While this is a common theme in shonen anime, One Piece handles it so masterfully that you often question whether the protagonist will overcome each obstacle. The story is full of mysteries, and even the community dedicates their time to find answers for every question they have. It's really cool when you realize that something that just happened was foreshadowed many years ago, showing how the author always has everything planned. The story is not made only by good moments, it also has some tense situations, and despite the low death count, those few deaths are unforgettable for the audience, and even for the main cast. Everything that happens has an impact on the ones affected. It's not like they forget what just happened on the last episode and continue with their lives. Their character is molded according to these moments, making the character more and more relatable. Up until now, I've only spoken about Luffy, but what about the others? Luffy doesn't navigate this journey alone. He recruits more allies along the way, each with their own unique stories and origins. Despite its seemingly simple and childlike premise, One Piece explores themes beyond piracy, touching on subjects like slavery, social differences reflected in what I just mentioned, pollution, corruption, and even rape. Despite these heavy topics, One Piece is still a family-friendly anime that you can enjoy with your loved ones. Imagine being in bed with your partner, turning on Netflix, type One Piece, and then watch it together all night, laughing, crying, and being anxious all together. Who doesn't want that? The nuances are subtle and won't alter your nephew Timmy's perception of life permanently. Watching it with your family is also a good idea. It can be a fun experience, especially considering One Piece has entered its final saga, and you wouldn't want to be left out of the group who watched it all without dealing with spoilers. Now, shifting the focus from the story, let's talk about what, in my opinion, makes this anime stand out: the world building. If there's one area where One Piece truly shines, it's here. The most basic explanation I can give is that in the world of One Piece, There are compasses called logposts that point to specific islands, and following the directions of these compasses leads you to the island where One Piece is supposedly located. Each island typically marks the beginning or end of an anime saga, but that is not a rule, and so far we had East Blue, Alabasta, Skypiea, Water 7, Thriller Bark, Marineford where they fought against the world government that includes Sabaody and Amazon Lily, Fishman Island followed by the Pirate Alliance that covers Punk Hazard and Dressrosa, then we had Whole Cake, Wano, and finally, the last saga. As I said, not all sagas were determined by the islands, but some representing the majority were. What's important is that each location is unique, offering a distinct vibe that you won't find anywhere else. The world of One Piece is filled with details, and each saga is significant. Nothing is by chance. For instance, without spoiling too much, in Thriller Bark, a samurai gives Zoro a seemingly unimportant sword. It's only in Wano, more than 500 episodes after that, is when we realize the true importance of that sword and the samurai. These details make me appreciate the work even more, showing that the author has everything planned out and isn't easily swayed by fan whims. I'm not saying it's impossible that he might be, but I didn't feel it, and you probably won't either. Some islands are inspired in real-world places, but some are just the materialization of the author's imagination. Wars, prejudice, and alliances, all things can be found in each of the 7 seas, and it's so many things that only watching you can understand what I'm talking about. Returning to the characters, please give a round of applause for this beauty. While you might argue that the characters have a somewhat childish and caricatured design, it doesn't overshadow the diversity and charisma of any of them. They have their personalities, traumas, and a lot of story to tell. Even the villains are as interesting as the protagonists, with some heavy names like Doflamingo and Big Mom, but we don't have to go that far. Just by looking at Luffy's crew, we already see an example of what I'm talking about. Tell me another anime where you can find a swordsman that uses 3 swords that promise that will never lose again, has a lot of amazing moments, and has that aura of a king. A chef who fights only with his feet, is pervert with family issues, has drip, and also has the aura of that guy. You know what I'm talking about. A fishman who knows karate and used to hate humans and had the balls to challenge one of the most powerful beings in the show. A perverted skeleton musician who wants to know the color of the panties of every girl. A mutant reindeer that knows medicine that made us cry. A liar sniper that uses a slingshot and generates moments like this. A navigator addicted to money, and finally Robin, the most common among them, if we ignore the fact that she can multiply her arms and legs and even increase their size. Each character has a well-told backstory, and they are who they are for specific reasons. Zoro wields 3 swords for a reason, Sanji avoids using his hands in battle for a reason, and Brook's story is tear-jerking. In fact, everyone's story is like that. Sanji, Zoro, Nami, Robin, Chopper, Jinbei, and Usopp, none of them escaped having a terrible past, but this past builds their character, and they are what they are now because of that. Sanji wants to see the all-blue, Zoro, become the strongest swordsman, Nami, to navigate through all the world, Chopper, cure all diseases, Robin is interested in the Poneglyph, and on it goes. Each of them has individual goals, and they're not just filling space in the crew. You'll likely find yourself liking all of them, and may even have a favorite. The last aspect I want to touch on is the animation. I won't lie and claim that One Piece has the best animation in the world, because that would be a lie. However, to say it's poor would be another lie. The animation is reasonable, and if that's not enough for you, I guarantee you won't regret it. The animation becomes better once they enter Wano, but that is really far away, around the episode number 900. But again, every other aspect is enough to overtake our attention from the animation. The musics, voices, epic moments, all of these are more important than better visual effects. So now I ask you, do you now consider giving it a try? And if you already watched it, tell me if I'm lying in the comments. And with that, I conclude the video. This was something different that may appear once or twice on the channel, but with different series, whether anime, cartoons, or whatever you guys want. And if you want to complain that One Piece is too long and has a poor pace, all I have to say is that it's true.